Good morning. We're still in the Hay Hollow Valley here. What I like about archaeology is that my husband Dennis and I can say we live between Carter Ranch Pueblo and Broken Cay Pueblo, and archaeologists kind of know what we're talking about. That we also live on, our property is the study area that I'm going to be addressing in this paper. As Abraham said, between 1959 and 1974, the Field Museums Southwest Archaeological Expedition focused on the pre-Columbian occupation of the Hay Hollow Valley. They excavated a number of sites, including Carter Ranch, Broken Cay, the Gurney sites, and many more. And they also recorded hundreds of additional sites. Now, rather than focus on one specific period of time or one specific site type or a specific location, the strength of their work, of their research strategy, lay in a broad, comprehensive investigation of the cultural and ecological processes which shaped the archaeological record in the Hay Hollow Valley. So it was a broad kind of a survey. In 1967 and 68, they did a lot of work in the central portion of the valley. Dr. Mark Leone directed a pedestrian survey of about 13.5 square kilometers in 67, and they surveyed 100% of that area. And when they did that, they found 277 sites that had not been previously recorded. And the next year, in 68, they did a 25% sample of areas just to the east and west of that and found over 100 more sites. So that's, in 2 years, they found 400 sites almost that they didn't know about before. In addition, in doing that work, in addition to documenting variables such as site location, absence or presence of structures, room counts, and temporal affiliation, they also did non-random samples of surface artifacts collected from each site to do further analysis with. However, despite all the work that they've done, that they did during those years, there are still a lot of questions remaining about what was really going on in the Hay Hollow Valley. For example, as Abraham spoke of, there was this huge population expansion around AD 900 to 950. Well, what caused it? Was it were people moving into the area who'd heard about all of this arable land, the high water table, the perennial streams, or was it a result of population growth because of their intensified agricultural production? We don't know. So what we're presenting in this paper is the results of recent archaeological investigations in one 30-acre parcel, Dennis and mine, located near the center of the valley. The north half of our parcel extends up the south side of Black Mesa, and the southern part of the parcel is in the floodplain of Hay Hollow Draw. This study area, this 30-acre parcel, was originally included in the Southwest Archaeological Expedition 100% survey that was done in the central part of the valley. Almost 50 years later, in 2015, we relocated 4 of those sites and re-recorded them. The results of our investigations demonstrate the importance of combining legacy data and site relocation with modern analytical techniques to make inferences about the Neolithic demographic transition on the southern edge of the Colorado Plateau, which is where we are. So when we relocated these 4 sites. It's NS 105, 107, 108, and 109, and we were really pleasantly surprised to find out that these sites recorded by the members of the Southwest Archaeological Expedition had been plotted within 30 to 50 meters of their exact locations. Site by site, NS 109 is situated both on the lower slope of Black Mesa and the floodplain of right below it, and it's at the east end of the study area. It consists of what appears to be a multi-component lithic and ceramic scatter with one associated non-architectural feature. The ceramic is mostly early to late Pueblo III, Cibola whitewares and White Mountain redwares. It's a small ceramic assemblage. The lithic debitage dominates the artifact assemblage, And the type of flaked stone debitage includes primary, secondary, and bifacial thinning flakes. The material types are chert, petrified wood, and quartzite. The predominance of the bifacial thinning flakes indicates that the site may have served as an archaic period lithic reduction and/or resource procurement locus. The fact that there are several Pueblo III sites within a kilometer to the west and the southeast likely account for the fact that the ceramics are much later. Approximately 25 meters up the slope of Black Mesa, there is a roughly oval-shaped clearing of basalt boulders, and there are a lot of basalt boulders in this area, so a clearing is fairly significant. And they form a level surface. Associated with that is a scatter of lithic debitage made up of mostly bifacial thinning flakes, which indicates that this site might have been a hunting blind. NS 108, which is again about 100 meters southwest of NS 109, so we're at the east end of the property, has two rock-lined features, a possible pit depression, and a scatter of lithic debitage and ceramics. Feature 1 sits at the base of Black Mesa within an area of modern trash and construction materials, and while this is our property, that is not our trash. It's composed of basalt and sandstone cobbles and boulders, and it may have functioned as an above-ground Hakal-walled habitation or storeroom. Feature 2 is about 25 meters to the southeast, and it consists of basalt and sandstone cobble and boulder masonry foundation. Based on the size and the shape of the features and the associated ceramic artifacts, Adamana Brown and Woodruff Plain, this site appears to have been a possible extension of the Connie site, which was a late Basketmaker II, early Basketmaker III settlement on top of Black Mesa. I mean, just straight up Black Mesa from this lower site. Now, moving to the other end of the property, more towards the western end, we have sites NS 105 and 107, which likely date to the middle to late Pueblo I, early Pueblo II periods, and therefore represent one of the most poorly understood periods of human occupation in the Hay Hollow Valley. Although they're separated into two sites based on possible differences in temporal affiliation and site function, together they represent the latest period of occupation in the study area, this 30 acres. NS 107 is located at the base of Black Mesa again, and it consists of two possible Hakal structures with basalt masonry foundations and an associated surface artifact scatter of lithic debitage and ceramics, of course. Feature 1 is a linear alignment of 6 basalt boulders forming a wall which is being exposed within a modern 2-track dirt road that we drive over almost every day. While feature 2 is made up of a poorly defined arrangement of basalt boulders that are just sort of sitting there and don't look natural. Despite detailed documentation, the relationship between site NS 107 and NS 105 nearby is not well understood, but we think site NS 107 predates NS 105. Now, NS 105 was originally recorded in the 1967 survey as a 2-room habitation site dating between about 950 and 1150 AD. Following our relocation of it in 2015, it became apparent that it was a much larger settlement that had been recorded. The site is a surface scatter of basalt and sandstone masonry, lithic debitage, and ceramics, situated at the top of a very low rise above the floodplain. 2 concentrations of basalt and sandstone cobble and boulders exposed within yet another modern 2-track dirt road that we drive over occasionally indicates wall alignments and the partial outline of surface rooms. In addition to standard site recording methods, the recording of NS 105 included in-field analysis of all artifacts visible on the modern ground surface and point location of all basalt and masonry, cobble, and boulders using a handheld Trimble GPS unit. In order to collect as much data as possible at the site, all lithic and ceramic artifacts visible on the modern ground surface were analyzed in the field. We found a total of 49 lithic pieces of flaked stone, 28 ceramics, and 1 crinoid stem bead. They were all identified within the boundary of the site. A revised chronology-based mean ceramic dating of surface ceramics indicates that the site was occupied during the early Pueblo II period, about 950 to 1050 AD. Post-occupational deposition processes aside, the point location of the surface masonry was used to make inferences regarding the size, the layout, and the orientation of the surface structures. The raw GPS data from this was later differentially corrected by Dan Garcia, the Cultural Resource Director for SWCA, to whom Abraham owes a six-pack of whatever beer Dan wants. The corrected GPS data indicates that the masonry cobbles and boulders visible on the modern ground surface form either a contiguous room block of above-ground Hakal wall structures, or perhaps a set of 3 or more non-contiguous room blocks forming a partially enclosed plaza opening to the south. The site is about 30 meters east to west and 16 meters north to south, and we estimate that the site consists of at least 9 above-ground rooms rather than the 2 that were previously recorded. In addition, there's a low basalt boulder just to the east of the site that has 7 cupules ground into the top of it. Now, while we can't, specifically say that this cupuled boulder is directly associated with NS-105, there are other sites in the general area that have this cupule on top of boulder feature associated with them as well, and which might indicate some kind of local phenomenon, though we don't know exactly what it is. We found 3 projectile points in the general vicinity of the site, and they range from archaic to possible Pueblo II, indicating a very long period of occupation and or use of this area, which is a really nice area. We like living there. The results of our investigation so far demonstrate that site data, no matter how old or incomplete, can be utilized and enhanced using modern methods of site recording and GPS mapping. The results also demonstrate the persistence of human occupation within a small but highly suitable location for seasonal or superannual settlement within the valley, as Abraham has already said. And that this area conditions here were favorable for hunting and gathering, lithic tool production, raw material resource procurement, and agricultural production. Of the 4 sites that we relocated and re-recorded, NS-105 stands out because of the enormous research potential that could help us understand settlement strategies associated with the agricultural intensification of Pueblo II and social identity expressed through architectural styles and ceramic productions, which was all going on during this incredible expansion phase that was happening around AD 950. Because so few sites dating to this time period have been recorded and even fewer have been excavated in the southwest Cibola region, we are entering into uncharted territory here, and we're really happy about that. Although an exhausting site file search and a search through gray literature may provide the means for comparative analysis, site records and site descriptions may not provide an adequate sample size. So we recognize that our research is both a continuation of the groundbreaking work, pun intended, initiated by Paul Martin, William Longacre, John Rinaldo, and everybody else who worked with them. But it's also an important first step in filling in the gaps of research that persist throughout this region, the southwest region of the Cibola area. So our research is ongoing, and we hope we can keep you posted. Thank you.